Michael the Assassin Stone
That's
joining us
right.
here on the Valenti Show with Rico. Mike off today. Stoney in.
Yes, I'll be also in tomorrow morning and Friday morning with Mr. Costa.
Oh.
A quick turnaround from afternoons to mornings.
So smarms a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
Cookies Costa. All right, so David had an interesting topic that was on the show sheet. And David, I'm going to let you set this up because I'd like it because I think every sports fan has gone through this at some time or another where you play this mental game with yourself. So, David, I'm going to let you set this up.
Yeah, so I happened to be searching Twitter one day, and I
That's a
forgot
mistake.
what account it was, but it was a Cam Newton photo that showed up on this college football account, and it simply asked, what if? It had him in a Florida Gators uniform. Now, for those that don't know, that may be young like Kenny, Cam Newton was at Florida before any time at Auburn. He went to a community college after that. He got kicked out of Florida because of some situations, ended up elsewhere. And it simply asks, what if he stayed at Florida? If he stayed at Florida, I mean, he's probably no Tim Tebow. You know, that era may be a little different because maybe Cam Newton's not the number one overall selection. Who knows?
Was Cam before or after Tebow?
He was before.
Okay.
He was actually there with Tebow.
Oh.
Yeah, he was there with
okay.
Tebow. And then some things happened, then he left. And it made me think.
He stole a laptop.
He did some things. He did some things. It made me think, what are the big what ifs in sports? In Detroit sports or sports overall? And I don't want to steal any thunder. I kind of wait and see if mine comes across. But what are the big what ifs?
Oh, there are so many.
In sports?
There are.
Okay, here's my favorite. If Pat McAfee does not miss 2 field goals in the West Virginia Pitt game, West Virginia either plays for the national championship or wins it. LSU doesn't go. Rich Rodriguez stays at West Virginia. Les Miles probably becomes the head coach in Michigan, and we never have the Rich Rod era.
Or you could do what Rich Rod actually takes the Alabama job.
Yes.
Because remember,
that was the year before.
He took the job and then went back to tell his team that he was going, and his team convinced him to stay.
And then there's some guy named Saban comes.
At West Virginia, and then Saban came in there.
Yeah. That's a broader.
That what if that you just mentioned, well, it's broad everywhere.
Yes.
That affects Michigan State. Maybe Nick Saban doesn't leave Michigan State
No,
if Rich Rod
he
goes.
was already in Miami.
Saban was already
He was
gone.
at the Dolphins.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. My fault. My fault.
Yeah.
I'm mixing timelines.
What if, all right, there's your Saban, Michigan State. What if McPherson had a pulse?
Okay. It wouldn't have worked at all at MSU. Nick Saban needed to leave. So this is one what if. He would just be some football coach that bounces around. Right. I would say this, though, dealing with Michigan State football, and this is a what if that you can't convince me it would not have happened. But what if the referees in 2013 at the Michigan State Notre Dame game actually called a fair game and didn't throw all those flags to bail out the Irish?
Well, you sound like a Michigan fan all of a sudden.
No.
I know.
But because we're talking what ifs. Because
I know,
MSU
right, I know.
runs the table.
Right.
And remember, they knock off the end of time, the Buckeyes.
Right.
That catapults Auburn, and it's Auburn-Florida State when it would have been MSU versus Florida State for the national title. But because of that game, now the reason why I say that, Stoney, because the referees came out and said, we blew some calls.
Yes.
So that's why I'm not being Michigan fan. When the refs say, we probably shouldn't have called that, it cost that one game. We didn't know at the time because you're thinking, that's just, same old Spartan. That was their only game that they lost. And, the Connor Cook era began shortly thereafter.
To go Michigan fan against you here, the NCAA finally came out and said you can't have hometown people running the score clock for Spartan Bob after that. So, and then
what are you talking about? There was like 0.00001 second left.
Whatever. Anyway, what if Eddie Brown doesn't trip Desmond? Desmond still should have caught the ball. That's the thing that people always forget.
Well,
the ball was in his hands.
And you know what? Here's the thing. And 248-539-9797, what is your what if this happened, you think that things would be different in Detroit sports or just nationally? Talking with Eddie Brown. So one day we were at a camp. I think it was a sound mind, sound body camp. And I'm just like, okay, so seriously, man. So what happened? He was like, oh, yeah, I tripped him.
Yeah,
I tripped
him.
I
know.
He's a Heisman Trophy winner. He should have caught the ball.
Right.
There was no way I was going to let this man get the winning catch on me. He had beat me, and I tried to tackle him. And it hit Desmond in the chest,
yes.
And it couldn't happen to a better person.
Yeah. I mean, we could do a whole show just on Michigan State stuff. But
sure.
How about this one? This actually does have a little bit of a Michigan State tie because he went there. What if Edinger misses the kick? Lions make the playoffs.
Yes.
Moeller stays as coach. We never have the Matt Millen era.
Yes.
You're right. That kick changed the course of history. And I don't think people realize how much Edinger making that kick. It just seems so, okay, it was a meaningless game. But Moeller, because Moeller was the
interim.
He was the interim coach. They fire him.
The players loved them.
And the next thing you know, they bring in Matt Millen, and the rest was history.
That could even affect today. Would you have Dan Campbell today? Because
possibly, you're right.
Down the line, you may not have need. Yeah.
He wouldn't have been on that 0-16 team. And okay, I like that one, Stoney.
But let me give you my what if.
Okay.
Because I immediately thought of this when I saw the picture here. What if Tom Brady didn't have a QB battle in Michigan and he was the quarterback his career at Michigan? Would he have been the late pick for the Patriots? Would he have been maybe a higher selection, never been drafted by the Patriots?
That's true.
Or never drafted at all?
David, this is one where it's kind of like the Nick Saban thing. I think it needed to happen.
Oh, for him, absolutely.
Because he needed to have the chip on his shoulder. He needed to be angry. He needed to be doubted, and he needed to prove the doubters wrong.
Okay, so if you're going to bring up Brady, there's two others for Brady. What if Mo Lewis doesn't hit Bledsoe and Bledsoe doesn't get injured?
Someone asked that, yeah.
And what about if the referees got the Tuck rule correct?
Oh, yeah, a little Wolverine on Wolverine crime.
The Raiders win that game. Brady doesn't get his first. Who knows?
Yeah, Pete Carroll just decides to run the ball in the Super Bowl. Yeah. And that's one less title that Brady has. I still don't understand that one. Maybe a little too soon here. What if the ball doesn't bounce off of Vildor's face mask?
Or how about this one?
And he catches the ball.
Because this one just came in, too, related to that
Josh
game.
Reynolds.
What if Josh Reynolds catches the ball?
Twice. What if Rasheed Wallace listened to his coach and didn't double team Ginobili? The play that I still think about while I'm showering a few times a year. It's the worst.
Well, which one was worse? Rasheed Wallace not covering Big Shot Bob, or Isaiah Thomas throwing the ball away?
Isaiah was a worse play because there were so many ways out of it. And then you could sit there and say, well, they would have won Game 6. You think they would have won Game 6 being back home because Parrish got suspended for that game. They probably would have won. Who knows what would have happened.
And you were in the garden.
What if?
You had just beat them, the devil in the belly of the beast.
Yeah.
What if Michigan wasn't sign stealing?
Oops.
Yeah, if they still would have won every game.
Says the rest of the country, David.
They still would have won every game. They would have been, maybe the margins would have been a little smaller, but they still would have won every game. But that's just me.
Do that, Rico. No.
What's the play?
No.
248-539-9797. I've never seen this defense. Don't worry, I got it. Spy glasses included. What's your what if moment? We'll get your phone calls. We'll get your ticket text next.